Okay, lots of questions there, and they're all related, but they're all a little bit different. They're all really important in my opinion. And so, listen, Trump and DeVos, I mean, ugh, right? So the less said about them, the better. What can we do here in Illinois? First of all, there was a school funding bill that was passed a few months ago that included some pretty decent stuff on our school funding system. I voted no on that bill. And my running mate, Letisa Wallace, who's a state rep, voted no on that bill as well, because it included exactly to your point, or to the questioner's point. Katie, perhaps. Got it. Included $75 million in what I would call a school voucher program, but what the advocates called a tax credit program, which was tax credits for rich people giving money to private school tuition funds. So in this exact moment that everybody claims to agree we don't have enough money for our public schools, we decided to siphon 75 million public dollars away into the pockets of big donors and to private schools. It's insanity. It's insanity. It's wrong. When I'm governor, we're going to repeal that. And fundamentally, we just should not be engaging in that kind of conduct. Now, about charter schools, let's start here. Back to there not being enough dollars in our public schools, back to there being a, frankly, almost an epidemic of school closings in Illinois. The last thing we need is more charter schools. We gotta have a moratorium on charter schools, because the idea that in this moment we're gonna open more charters and suck dollars out of the public school system, it's craziness. It's a terrible idea. That's number one. Next, there is something called the Charter School Commission. Do y'all know how this works? So let's say Sandy wants to open a charter school in Crystal Lake. So she sends an application to the school board, and they debate the issue, and if they say yes, then Sandy's charter opens and it's a part of the Crystal Lake School District, and that's that. But if they say no, sorry, then she's not allowed to open the charter school. But she can appeal. She can appeal to a state entity, a state board whose members are appointed by the governor, who are not chosen locally, who have no accountability to the local community, unlike the school board that said no to Sandy in the first place. Sorry. She's taking it pretty well. So Sandy appeals to the state board appointed by the governor, and if they grant her appeal, then the district is overruled, and that charter is foisted on the school district, pulling money out of it against the wishes of the local community. Bad idea. So I'm sorry. Now she's getting upset about it. I voted for a bill to stop that process this past spring. Now, as you might imagine, it's not Governor Rounder's favorite bill, but when I'm governor, we're going to pass that law so that we don't have an unelected statewide commission telling local communities you have to accept a charter school. That's next. Next, you made a really, or the education committee made a really important point. Charters on average aren't better than public schools. So what are we doing about the bad charters? Why aren't they held accountable in the same way that we are constantly talking about holding public schools accountable? So we need way more accountability for charter schools. We need to close the worst charter schools, and we need to, when charter schools are doing well, actually understand why and import their ideas back into traditional public schools. So the system as it exists now is a siphon to pull money out of the public schools, to pull students out of the public schools, to pull engaged families out of the public schools, and it's a one-way street. If there is to be a place for charters, it's got to be the exact opposite, where only the best charters should be allowed to continue, and those that are functioning well and are allowed to continue need to be used as models to import ideas into the rest of the school system. And we haven't seen that happen in Illinois. We've seen kind of the opposite happen, and so I think we're due for a real serious reevaluation of this experiment.